Is Slime Rancher 2 worth playing in 2025? No, not really. Now, I know the game is in its beta, but there's some issues with the game that don't make a lot of sense to me. I'll get back to that later. For now, let's talk about Slime Rancher 1. Now, it's not called Slime Rancher 1, it's called Slime Rancher. I'm gonna call it Slime Rancher 1 to avoid confusion. I love this game. It's probably a top 10 game of all time, and that's saying something because I've only ever played 3 video games. This game is awesome. I have over 100 hours in it, and that's saying something because this game will only take you 3 hours to beat. It is a short-ass game, but I absolutely love it, and the replayability is there. I have all the achievements, I've unlocked everything. This game is awesome. If you haven't played it, go pick it up. It's super cheap. What is the premise of the game? Well, it gets a little bit weird from here. So if you know what the game's about, you can kind of relate. It is weird. Basically, you're a rancher. You're the Slime Rancher, so you own a farm. And your weapon of choice is a vacuum gun. So you can suck things up or you could shoot things out. Now that's fine and dandy, but here's where it gets really weird. You can basically capture slimes out of their natural habitat and then force them into your ranch. Then you feed the slimes, and like all living creatures do, they shit. So basically you suck up their shit and you can actually sell it for profit. So basically you capture these slimes from their natural habitat and then you force them into your labor camp. And it is awesome. There are also a bunch of different types of slimes. Each one has their own abilities. So for example, there's a rock slime. He's got rocks ingrained in his head and he can turn into a ball and roll around, and if he hits you, he hurts you. There's a rad slime, basically radiation slime. It creates a field of radiation around it, so you gotta be careful or you're gonna get cancer. Phosphor slime is a slime that's only out at night. It's basically like a firefly slime, and you have to keep it in the dark, otherwise it'll die. Each slime has its own risks. Certain slimes are much more dangerous than other slimes, or some slimes will die if you don't give them the proper care, so you have to make sure they're attended to. You can even combine 2 different types of slimes together by feeding one slime another type of slime shit. Yes, they eat each other's shit, it's weird, I know, but basically you can create these crazy combinations of slimes and you can get both types of shit from them, which is awesome. It's really cool. On top of all of that, there's a fluctuating shit market, kind of like stonks. It'll teach you economics. This game is educational. It taught me more economics than my actual college course did. My teacher was shit, okay? Pun intended, we're talking about shit right now. But anyway, I've played both games on stream, and I enjoyed both of them. I didn't play Slime Rancher 1 for as long, which it's because I've played it so many times. I don't need to play it again for a fair comparison. I think I've played it enough times. So I played 2 just to compare it and get a good feel for it, see all the new updates and stuff, and as I played it, the issues started to become more prevalent. And I had played it in the past before, not on stream, but when I played it this time, I could really see the issues after the updates. They had not fixed the issues that I had with the game beforehand. Just recently, they actually released the Grey Labyrinth update, which was okay, I guess. They keep updating the game's getting frequent updates, but I don't think it's fixing the underlying issues, and we'll get back to all this later. So, before I get into the bad parts of the game, let's talk about the good parts, because they definitely improved over the first game in a lot of areas. First of all, graphics, top notch. The last game was pretty grainy, and stuff didn't look super good. It definitely was not a good looking game. Now I can confidently say, like, okay, this is a good looking game. The slimes look great, the water looks great, the textures, it looks so much better. A lot of the slimes have had glow-ups. For example, I thought the boom slime in the last game was kind of lame looking. The boom slime is a slime that's a literal bomb. And what they did was basically they took a red slime and they slapped some little like yellow cracks on its head and it looked kind of dumb. In this game, that slime glows, so it looks like it's ready to explode at any given moment, and I think it looks awesome. Boom slime looks way better, along with a lot of other slimes. It's crazy. The plorts even will like resonate like a little glow, which is super cool. The graphics look awesome. Good job with the graphics. They also added new slimes. Nobody's gonna complain about new slimes. There's tons of them. For example, there's a cotton slime, which is like a bunny slime. They also added the angler slime, kind of like an anglerfish. It has a little light on its head. They added the ringtail slime. I fucking hate that guy. New gadgets. Really cool. Everybody likes new gadgets. There's now a mining feature. In the last game, you had to harvest resources using these resource harvesting machines, and now you have to do it by hand, which is a little bit tedious, but I think it's a cool idea, and I like it. Sometimes adding more tedious things to games makes them more realistic, almost. I know it's a game about selling shit on an alien planet, but it's cool. I like it. There's also more vac gun slots. In the old game, you could only hold 4 different types of items. Now you can hold 6 with upgrades. But it's cool. They have a bunch of other cool features that they've added for upgrades. So, very nice. Big fan of that. They added weather cycles in one of the updates. Come Rain or Slime update in November 2023. They have rain, they have lightning. It's really cool. And also certain types of weather events will cause certain types of slimes to appear. So during tornado, the dervish slimes will appear, which is really cool. So now you have to wait for certain slimes to appear for when there's like a certain type of weather. It's pretty cool. There's also a lot of added quality of life items that I think are good. You can skip the tutorial, you can sleep till certain times of day, you can place map markers. The map will mark stuff for you automatically sometimes. Very cool. I also really liked the difficulty slider. You can change the amount of damage you take from slimes, and I think that's really cool because I am an alpha rancher and I need the game to be a little bit more difficult. So when I played it on stream, I upped the difficulty to the highest difficulty. It was still pretty damn easy. I feel like they should go higher with it, but it's a cool feature that they added. I'm a big fan of it. Now this is the biggest feature. This is the best part of the game. You can now place gadgets anywhere, which is crazy. In the old game, you could only ever place gadgets on certain spots. Now you can place them anywhere. And they've added a bunch of new landscape features and furniture items. You can place chairs and tables now. You can place trees anywhere. Lots of little cool gadgets that they've added. Basically, you can put your slimes on a merry-go-round, which is really cool. But they added all these cool decorations, and so basically, they've given you the ability to decorate your entire world. And I think that is so awesome. And it's brought so much more playability to the game because it is a short game, so now you're extending that life by giving the players option to be creative and do whatever they want. I think it is a brilliant feature that they've added. Now let's talk about the bad parts of the game. But before I get into that, would you maybe consider liking and subscribing? It would be awesome if you could. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, now we talk about the bad parts of the game. I'm going to separate these into 2 categories. The first category will be bugs and weird game mechanics, and the second category will be things that the devs added or took away that kind of suck. You know how I mentioned the weather cycles before? So they're supposed to be dropping certain slimes, and during tornadoes it's supposed to drop the dervish slime, and I am not getting them. The whole time I would go check out tornadoes, and I didn't see a single dervish slime. And that's weird because the first playthrough I did of the game, I saw dervish slimes right away. The minute there was a tornado, there were dervish slimes. Now I haven't seen a single one, so that kind of sucks. The second weird glitch is the slimes are definitely very buggy. Slimes that fly are really bad at picking up items. Certain slimes hit the top of the net way too frequently, and that gets really fucking annoying. Also, the facial animations are messed up. This sounds weird, but the facial animations are actually really important. Slimes will make certain faces depending on how much food you fed them. They look pissed off when you don't feed them. They look kind of happy when you feed them one item, and then once you feed them two, they have a big smile on their face. It means you've fed them fully and they can't eat anymore for a set period of time. And it doesn't work like that. So parts of the game I would be shooting tons of food at one slime expecting him to eat it, and he wasn't. And then I realized, oh, the facial animations are bugged, because he would have eaten the food if he was making that face in the last game. Another issue with the game, the chickens. The item description for chickens says you should only ever keep 12 fully grown chickens in the same coop. The chickens don't reproduce when you put them too tightly together. However, that is not the case, because when I would leave the area where I keep my chickens, they would reproduce so fast and so frequently that when I would come back to that area, the chickens would literally explode out of the coop. The chickens were stacked on top of each other. That's how many chickens would be produced at once. It was wild. Holy shit. I come over here and there's like an explosion of chicken. My god. Yeah, we gotta get some crowd control in here. Please start eating them. Please. Help me. And it's not supposed to do that. So I don't know why it keeps doing that. But there were so many chickens, I just decided to scoop them all up and toss them into the ocean. I couldn't deal with that many chickens. My last issue, and probably one of the most annoying for this segment, the tars. For God's sake, you need to make the tars less prevalent. They are a nightmare to deal with, and they're super fucking annoying. Basically, what a tar is when you take one of the slimes I previously mentioned. You can take a slime, you can feed it one plort, it turns into a hybrid of those two slimes. If you feed the hybrid a plort of a third slime, it'll turn into a tar. And basically what a tar does is it's like a zombie. It eats the good slimes and it turns them into other tars, and then they eat other slimes, etc., etc. And then they'll also go and they'll attack you, and the only way to kill them is blasting them with water. In the last game, tars were there, and they would spread, but it was manageable, and it was pretty rare, to be honest. Tars, you'd have to stay there for a little while in order for tars to appear. They were a fun little part of the game that I enjoyed. It added a little bit of a challenge to the game. You have to stay in one area for a certain amount of time, otherwise tars are going to appear. And if the tars do appear, you either escape or you kill them all. However, that's not the case in this game. Once one tar appears, all of the slimes in that area will turn into fucking tars. It is a nightmare. And again, this game is super easy. It's not that the tars are difficult to deal with, it's just that they're super fucking annoying, and it ruins the flow. I just want to go exploring without playing a horde shooter every time I go exploring. I think the reason this keeps happening is because in the last game, slimes would spawn just that one slime, and then naturally they would eat each other's shit and become the hybrids. In this game, I think they spawn in as hybrids, and I also think the spawn rates are way too high. You'll have like small enclosed areas with like 50 slimes in them, so tars will just spread like wildfire. But yeah, the tars are probably the most obnoxious part of the game right now, and I think they need to be fixed because it just ruins the flow and it makes exploring a lot less fun and more of a pain in the ass. Now let's move on to things that the devs added or have taken away that suck. First of all, what in God's name is this nightmare fuel? I don't even know what this is. Number 2, plorts are worth nothing. For example, honey slimes are found at about the same point in each game. In the first game, the minimum price for a honey plort is $15, and the maximum is $98. In the second game, the minimum price is $16, and the maximum is $54. That's a huge difference. And it's not just the honey plort, it's a whole bunch of the different plorts. I'd say most of them, to be honest. Now that the shit is worth nothing, it makes starting off early game much harder. You also have to do double the amount of work that you did in the last game to just get started. Later in the game, you're supposed to stockpile shit until they're worth the max amount of money, and then you sell them when they're high in value. Basically what your goal is early game is to make enough money to get to that point where you can start stockpiling shit in order to make the max amount of profit. But again, that requires a good amount of money to do. So what you do before you start stockpiling shit is you just sell all the shit immediately to basically just make enough money to start buying the silos which you store this shit in. And then you sell the shit that you stored for max profit. Now it takes much longer to get to that stage of the game, so you're just selling the shit immediately, and then you keep selling the shit immediately, and then you keep selling the shit immediately. It takes a super long time to get out of that phase, and I don't like it, because when I sell shit at the max profit, it activates my neurons, and I can't do that until much later in the game. It takes you twice as long, and what you're selling ain't worth shit. Pun intended. On top of all of that, the stuff on your ranch costs either the same amount of money that it did in the first game, or it costs much more. Okay, here's some examples. In the first game, all of the base upgrades costed $350. In the second game, they all jump $100 at $450. Here's another example. For HP, if you want to get it to the second tier upgrade, you're going to have to pay $500. For stamina to get it to second tier, you need to pay $650. In Slime Rancher 2, it's $900 for both of the second upgrades for those things I just previously mentioned. Those are just some quick examples. It's pretty much all of the upgrades in this game. They're all just much more tedious than they have to be. It now takes longer to upgrade your equipment, which makes ranching and exploring much less convenient and more of a hassle for a longer period of time. In this version of the game, you also have to look for the materials in order to upgrade your equipment. So on top of finding the cash that you need to upgrade the equipment, you also have to give the machine materials in order to upgrade. In the last game, all you needed was money. Now you have to go use the shit that you just made for profit and put it into the machine in order to get your upgrades as well. It's just such a pain in the ass to get started in this game. It almost leads to a struggle between exploration and making money back on the farm, because I have to either go exploring for the materials or I need to make money at the ranch, and I'm not going to make that money because none of the plorts are worth anything, and I'm dumping the plorts into slime science in order to get my upgrades. My next issue with the game: bring my boys Mosaic and Rad back. They didn't do anything wrong. Next issue: sundials from the Gray Labyrinth update are fucking annoying. For those of you who don't know, there's treasure pods hidden around the map. They're kind of like going on an Easter egg hunt, and every time you open one, you get some new decoration, or sometimes you even get cool gadgets like a teleporter or something. Gray Labyrinth doesn't do that. They have these sundials, and what you do is you take the shit from the shadow slimes, which are only ever found in the Gray Labyrinth, and you have to shoot them into the sundials in order to unlock your treasure pod, basically. And it's really annoying because it takes like a fucking 100 shadow slime shits in order to unlock these things. So I have to go hunting for like 20 minutes just to open one of these things, only to find out I just got a fucking tree instead of something cool. It's really irritating because now I have to go through the trouble of finding the sundial, and now I also have to go put a bunch of these stupid shit sandwiches into the sundial. It's just really frustrating, and it's way too tedious. My next issue, and this is a big one, you can't fully automate your farm, and it completely sucks. In the last game, because you couldn't decorate, your main goal at the end of the game was to fully automate your farm and have it be as efficient as possible. We would set up these things called teleporter hubs, and basically what that was is a room or part of the map that's full of teleporters, and the teleporters in that room would teleport you to anywhere you would want to go. And that includes other parts of your ranch as well. It would take you a while to walk from one point of your ranch to another, so now you didn't have to do that, you could literally just teleport there. And it would save you so much time from going back and forth. And it activated fucking neurons. Okay, watch this shit. Moss blanket, boom, I'm there. Home, there. Let's go to the glass desert. Boom, 2 seconds, back home. Watch this, I can go to the other part of my ranch. Boom, there. Let's go to the farthest part of my ranch. Boom, there. Let's go back. Boom. So efficient, I gooned to this shit. Okay, this is Slime Rancher 2's teleporter system. Go through there. Loading screen. Okay, here's my teleporter hub. See this? I want to go to the Gray Labyrinth. Walk through here. Another loading screen. Okay, here we go. Now I have to get to my go home teleporter. I can't go through there again. I have to go this way. So let me just walk up these stairs. Now, I could have moved my go home teleporter closer to that teleporter, but I figured I'm going through the area, and this is like the middle of the area I'm going, so I might as well put the awesome tar. Another example of why this game is not that good compared to the first one. See, it's over here. Another loading screen. And, watch this. I go back to my house instead of going back to my teleporter hub. In order to get back to my teleporter hub, I have to go all the way down here into this teleporter. And then I'm back at the teleporter hub. Now I can teleport after this loading screen. I can teleport back and forth like this, but I can't with those other ones. See, watch this. I'm gonna go in here. They have these go home teleporters, and they have these teleporters that take you to the different parts of the map. And then they have these two-way teleporters, but there's only 6 of them. There's much more in the other game. 6 is not enough to have that two-way throughout the whole game. I basically have these to teleport to different parts of my ranch, and that's it. I can't teleport to the different parts of the map because they're only one way. And then I guess I can use the return home portals, but it's kind of like, what's the point? It's just, you didn't have to add these at all. It doesn't flow, it doesn't activate neurons, it kills my neurons. There's also no drones either. I'm sure they'll add it later in the game, but it really sucks that they're not there because, again, your whole objective at the end of the game is to fully automate your farm. And you can't really do that without drones or teleporters that don't completely suck. There's also an issue with the decorations and the gadgets. They're pretty lame, to be honest with you. I was really excited. The idea, the concept behind the fact that you can place gadgets and furniture and decorations anywhere is really awesome, except for the fact that they all kind of are extremely underwhelming. They suck. You expect one gadget to do something awesome, and then it does something super lame. Kind of blows. Dude. Come on, you gotta launch it into the ocean, like, full send it. Come on, man. That stinks. Just a little boop. You want the furniture to look cool, or the trees that you want to place to look cool, and then it becomes this, like, tiny, puny-ass tree. And a huge issue with them is the fact that they cost so much material to make. I have to pay like $500 for a tree, and on top of that, I also need to find all the materials for it. And because this isn't the last game where machines would just look for the resources for you, you actually have to go out of your way to find materials just to make a stupid tree. Okay, I'm listening to the audio that I made earlier, and I go on for way too long about the stupid tree. It's not just the tree, it's a whole bunch of different furniture items and gadgets that they have. Also, I need to clarify, you can buy this stuff off of the Pronto Mart, which basically allows you to buy furniture items that you want. The thing is, you actually have to wait for those items to come in stock, and the stock is limited. So you might have to wait a while in order to buy like 5 of the thing you need when you need a whole bunch more. And there were gadgets that did impress me. One specific one, but I mean, that's really it. Oh, yes! Holy crap! Bruh! Oh, that's so awesome! Holy crap. Okay, now I'm impressed. You could just make the tree cheaper. It's a very insignificant item that you need to make, and for some reason it costs a ton of money, and it's not fun to decorate when I have to place one tree and then I need to go look for a ton of materials just to make a second tree. It's really irritating, and it makes decorating just completely suck. I have a solution for this. I was thinking that later on in the game they could add resource harvesters like the first game, but you make those costly so that the player actually has to work for those, and then once they have it, they don't have to work for the random decorations that you make. I feel like the devs wanted to make the game longer by making it more tedious, but in doing so, they've just made it really annoying to play and a lot less appealing. Just making things cost more to do basic things and making it more of a grind, it doesn't feel necessary. The devs are constantly adding new segments to the game, which just naturally make the game longer. So I don't see why they can't just keep doing that and make everything a fair price, or just make it less of a grind for me. But adding new segments to the game will just naturally make it longer. If you're worried about replayability, just add more segments to the game. Also, they've added the decorations to the game, so now you can just decorate everything. So if they're worried about replayability, they already have it. They don't have to make it this tedious process, because then players are going to play it for much less time because they just find it annoying to decorate and do all of these other features. I felt like I spent the game trying to make money, and then by the time I've reached a spot where I had enough money to start like decorating and exploring the new things that they've added, I was already getting bored of the game due to how expensive that stuff was and how much of a grind it was to get there, only to find out that it was kind of disappointment. They've added replayability with the decorations that are placeable anywhere, and they've added it through the constant updates where they add more to the game. They don't need to make things so damn expensive. And fix the furniture. It's kind of lame, to be honest with you. Not trying to be a dick. It's lame. Now, I know the game is in its beta, but it doesn't make sense to me that the devs keep adding more extensions to the game without fixing the pre-existing issues with the game. I don't think releasing a beta makes sense in general, because I feel like it only just makes your game look bad. But I don't know. Lots of games release a beta, so the first game came out in its beta, but I felt like it was more polished than this because there wasn't a whole bunch of issues with it. Another thing is, too, with a sequel, you're expecting more than the game before it, and I just didn't get that. It felt less polished, almost. But yeah, it doesn't make sense that they keep adding more features to the game without fixing the pre-existing ones. They should worry about that first, and then once those are fixed, they add the next part of the game to it. Now, I don't mean any disrespect. I have a world of respect for Monomi Park. I'm not doing this to be an asshole. I'm doing it because I want this game to succeed. And I really hope they fix these issues before the full game is released. Or at least until they start releasing the next update. It doesn't make a lot of sense to keep going with the way things are going right now. Okay, just wanted to reiterate. I didn't make this video to be an asshole. I just wanted to post a video about my opinion on the game and hopefully make it entertaining. If you agree with me or you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Like and subscribe, that would be awesome. My name is Jesus the Almighty, and this is a video that I have made for you.